you about time. Can I just have your attention for a minute, please? I need to talk to you about time. The people who provide tea and coffee want to know if we want to break or not. Now, we might want to break, but actually if we have a break, a lot of people will go because it's getting on. Are we okay to carry on until 6 o'clock without a break, and then Terry can let the staff go? Is that all right? Thank you very much. And if we can just try and keep to a minimum of discussion now, then we can get through as much as we can, because we still have some items left. I'm just going to hand over then to Ben Lewis to talk about number 38.
Thanks, Jeff. Comrades, in this September's referendum on Scottish national independence, this motion will commit Left Unity to working class political independence, a position that has been completely absent in the propaganda war over this issue thus far. While it's impossible for any leftist to seriously deny the veracity of some of the points the Better Together campaign has made regarding the possible disastrous effects that a Scottish exit would have on its economy, infrastructure, and therefore our class in Scotland, the fact is that the Better Together campaign has been chiefly characterised by the politics of fear and intimidation in a desperate attempt to defend and apologise for the status quo. That is to say, the thoroughly undemocratic British constitutional order, which this motion makes clear is the common enemy of our class on these shores, whether they're in Glasgow, Manchester or Swansea. On the other hand, it should be equally obvious that the Scottish nationalists like Alex Salmond's SNP are unable to offer anything beyond some kind of small-scale capitalist utopia. The latest model is Norway. Previously it was Iceland, at least until 2008 and the banking crash. Some, even on the far left today, even claim that somehow an independent Scotland can be a step towards socialism, a complete and utter illusion, comrades, that we have to get real about. There can be no socialism in one country. We need an international perspective, and we need to build on and deepen the unity that exists in the working class movement in this country. This motion is informed by radical democratic republican principles in seeking to confront and positively overcome the Scottish national question to the benefit of the working class and its struggle against the British state. So while it unequivocally champions the right of the Scottish people to self-determination and to decide their own future, and thus proclaims voluntary democratic unity, it simultaneously underlines how Left Unity must campaign to oppose Scottish separation, to fight for the closest union that circumstances allow, and to inscribe on its banner the Federal Republic of England, Scotland and Wales. Politics that will quite rightly strike fear into both the David Camerons, the Alistair Darlings and the Alex Salmonds of this world. Working class politics. In this sense, it's utterly evasive to simply state, as Comrade Freeman and others have today, that Left Unity will simply do X, Y or Z regardless of what happens, whether Scotland becomes independent or not. Left Unity needs to intervene in the campaign now with a clear alternative strategic line and policies, not be blown along by the course of events in a campaign that has been dominated by Scottish nationalism and British English national chauvinism. Neither hold the way forward for our class, and it's in this spirit that I move this motion. Our future cannot be informed by some mythological past. Our vision must strive to see the merging of nations and peoples through the most thoroughgoing democracy. We must aim to positively supersede and overcome the Scotlands, the Wales, the Britons and all the nation states of this world as products of human history and not its culmination. Thank you, comrades.
Okay, we were just wondering if we can go straight to the vote on this one. No, we can't. Okay, that's fine. Who wants to speak against? I'm going to take you. Oh, lots of people. I'll take you to speak against.
Teresa Delaney, Cardiff Left Unity. Please don't vote for this motion. It's an affront to the history and the people of Wales. It's not being a Welsh nationalist, it's not being in favour of Welsh independence, it's just the historical experience of the people of Wales. It was not a gradual bonding of England and Wales, it was a colonial experience. Wales is Britain's oldest colony. The Welsh language is a minority language because there was a systematic policy of excluding Welsh from the national discourse. It remains Western Europe's poorest country, its natural resources exploited for the capitalist class. We have an under-resourced education system, an under-resourced health system comparatively compared to the other British nations. If we vote this through, it will be an insult and an affront to the Welsh, and we will not be able to campaign effectively in our country. Thank you.
Yes. Be brief. Mark Lewis from Swansea. It is not an affront to the Welsh people at all, quite frankly, to vote for this motion. Yes, you know, the incorporation of Wales into England was achieved through arms, undoubtedly. A progressive side effect of that was the gradual merging of the peoples of Wales with the peoples of England, with the peoples of Scotland, to form a consolidated, historically constituted working people. And that is the progressive side of it, not England's colonial adventures hundreds of years ago. And let's take the Welsh language, for example. I'm fully in favour of the resources being given for the Welsh language to flourish, for people to have census forms in Welsh, etc., etc., etc. But comrades from Cardiff, or that comrade from Cardiff, should maybe look at history as well, and particularly Marxist history, Gwyn Williams and people like that, who actually point out that the people who actually promoted the English amongst school children were ambitious Welsh parents. All right, they wanted to give them a language that was universal. So it was a process, absolutely, that had a degree of oppression to it, but it also was a willing merger of the Welsh people themselves. All right, and to say that the annexation of Wales by England hundreds and hundreds of years ago equates or somehow feeds through to their national aspirations or the national feelings, the sentiments of the Welsh today, is a nonsense. It's ahistorical nonsense. Support the motion.
One for against and another one for. Alan, you going against?
Yes. Hi, Alan Story from Nottinghamshire Left Unity. I'd like to speak out very strongly against this resolution. What our main task as a predominantly English and Welsh party, and I appreciate your comrades, friends in Scotland, is to oppose the chauvinism, the campaigning that's going on daily by Miliband, Farage, etc. Sorry, I'm used to speaking without a microphone. That this is the most abstract, proletarian internationalism. Oh yeah. What does any of this mean? In fact, the fact is that what we should be doing is, first of all, supporting the right of Scotland to self-determination. Second, though, our main job is to oppose the chauvinism of Cameron and company. This is what we need to take on. We're soon going to hear Great Britain into this discussion. It's disgusting, this kind of stuff. And third, what we should be reaching out to is the RIC campaigners, and this is what we're trying to do with our proposal to Hands Off Scotland and bring RIC campaigners. So I'd like to vote very strongly, suggest you vote very strongly against this abstract Marxism.
Okay, comrades, Sarah McDonald still. This is not abstract Marxism. This is actual a way of dealing with concrete reality on the ground in Scotland and to a lesser extent in Wales. The call for a federal republic recognises that there is a national question in Scotland and in Wales. It calls for the right to self-determination as a democratic right. That is not the same as advocating separation. It is aimed at, it is a Republican motion as well, it is aimed at greatest possible voluntary unity. Now, Mark's made some very good points in response to the comrade from Cardiff that spoke, which did strike me as a left nationalist position. There are left nationalists in Scotland and they are leading this radical independence movement. I think it's important that we look at not just saying, well, Cameron's for the unity of Britain and the European Union, or for the commissioners, or for the Central Bank, and so on and so forth. Well, yes, they are, but from a different perspective. We've got to take an independent class perspective. We are not aligning ourselves with Scottish nationalists, with the Scottish ruling class. We should be aligning ourselves with workers in Manchester, with workers in London. If we look at the anti-poll tax campaigns, if we look at the miners' strike, if we look at the big battles that have been fought and won in this country, it has been on the basis of working class unity. If we look at Scottish independence, what will happen? In reality, Scottish capitalist independence will not be a land of plenty for the working class. It will be austerity. It will be absolutely hellish. And Salmon's government cannot even commit to the social democratic promises that it's made. Never mind what the Radical Independence campaign thinks it can do, because I promise you, comrades, it will not.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. This is a passionate, just a passionate issue, and we could probably talk about it for a long period of time. I don't want to go down that route today. Other motions can be brought back later if people want to raise those issues at other conferences. So I'm proposing that we move to the vote. If that's really unpopular, I'll rethink, but I'm proposing we move to the vote. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay, those in favour of motion 38? Thank you. Those against 38? That one's lost. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your patience and thank you for your passion. I mean, it's just great to have the passion.